My name is Peggy Banks, and I've been a member of Beaux Arts for 4 years. I'm also the exhibition coordinator, and I curated the show going on at MOAS. The reason I called it The Healing Power of Art is because of the current times we're experiencing. So I thought it was really apropos to title the exhibition The Healing Power of Art. Not only is visual art healing, but all of the arts are. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my process before I discuss my idea. My materials are composed of handmade paper made from abaca, which comes from the banana tree, and also copper. So what I do is I take the fiber, I soak it in a bath of water. When it becomes soft and supple, I macrate, which means to separate each layer into 10 different layers. Then using whizzer, I beat the fibers in a ratio of 80% water to 20% fiber. Once they are separated, I beat the fibers using a whizzer. That takes about 15 minutes. After that, I use a molded decal screen. I pull the fibers up into the screen, allow the water to be released, and then I press the paper until all the water is gone, and then I transfer it onto a ground, and then it's pressed and allowed to dry. The copper is constructed from 16 gauge copper. It's wrapped around a wooden frame. It's then wet sanded to remove all of the tiny scratches. Once that happens, it's allowed to dry. I use a combination of sea salt, rock salt, regular table salt, kosher salt, pink Himalayan salt, along with vinegars and sometimes ammonias, wearing a mask, of course. I work outside to gently rub this mixture onto my copper, which by then has warmed a lot from the afternoon sun. Once that's complete, which takes several days, it's then sealed with 3 layers of a gloss finish. The paper is then mounted, and so that part's complete. But here was my idea, thinking about COVID and everything that's going on in the world, all the sadness, the death, the destruction. I wanted to represent that, but put it in a grateful, joyful composition. So using these stones, I carefully inserted them into the paper. I'm thinking of this as a ground, so that as we walk along the earth, walking along our life, we notice things that maybe seem less significant, but in fact they are. Footprints in the sand, cracks in the sidewalk, wildflowers along the side of the road. And so as we walk along, maybe filled with sadness or fear, we can come to a flower garden, which gives us hope, which many of my friends on Facebook have continuously posted throughout this pandemic, and it's made me feel so much joy and happiness. These cones are composed of tie papers stuffed with polyfill, superimposed with this lace-like coarse ribbon, and then mounted on top of that are circular forms wrapped with gold leaf, and they represent flowers. On top of that, I've attached twigs that I found from my studio so that the entire piece hopefully represents a sense of beauty and a sense of healing and brings us some joy and some tranquility during this difficult time that we're living in. So that was my piece, and it's called Treasures.